Okay, it's live, guys.
All right, cool. So, I believe the prompt for this one was focusing on the various approaches to studying leadership and then discussing which perspectives or approaches made the most sense to each of us. And considering the approaches and theories presented, think about our own beliefs about leadership and how leaders can motivate followers to achieve goals.
Right.
Right.
All right. So, who wants to take the reins and talk about what they liked first and stuff?
Anybody want to go first?
I'll go first again.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, there's 7 different approaches as we read about, and I thought the transformational approach just seemed like, for me, the best one, because it kind of touched on what we were talking about last week, where you want your leader to be able to take his followers or her followers and make them leaders as well. And that's kind of what a transformational approach does, is the leaders are able to produce more leaders from their followers. And then they have those 5 primary characteristics of creative, interactive, visionary, empowering, and passionate. So when I was reading about that, that was kind of what I would want my leader to be and how I would want to be a leader.
Good. All right. Well, I thought that the relational leadership style was the best. I just have it all written down, so I'm just reading off what I have. I said it focuses on the idea that leadership effectiveness has to do with the leader creating positive relationships within the organization. So pretty much, I just feel like making workers like want to work for you and like kind of creating that like nice, comfortable environment. You're gonna get the most from your workers, like being friendly, like if you're like a strict boss, like always telling your workers what to do, they kind of maybe like resent you and not going to want to give their 110%. Like if you have like a friendly relationship with a worker, like they want to go up and above and do things for you. I just feel like having that good relation creates a more positive and like comfortable workspace to want to work in, and it just makes the like attitude of the workers better and just a better place to work overall. You know?
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the empowerment model that I liked was kind of this self-leadership style, honestly. I mean, I obviously think that there should be a rank structure, of course, when having followers and leaders and stuff, but I also feel that, using that term self-leaders, that's on page 165, is kind of everyone kind of guide them to act on their own, and kind of giving them that independence to make their own decisions. Because, like you said, Matt, having that overbearing manager who kind of micromanages everything like that, I don't think that a lot of that gets done, or when they're super negative about feedback and things like that. So I think giving followers, the tools they need to act on their own and really guide themselves kind of takes a lot out of that. And it kind of builds trust between the follower and the leader.
Right, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, like Janet, I also found that the transformational leadership is the type of leadership that caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
One reason being is that this type of leadership has the ability to motivate and inspire followers. With this type of leadership, they make the performance of, the performance higher and I'm not reading this right. I typed it all down. So what I was trying to say is that I like this type of leadership because of the ability to motivate and inspire others, which then creates positive changes in the group. And as a result, this makes higher performance and higher employee satisfaction. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I am actually with Kelly and Jan on that one too, mainly because it was like interesting for me too, because with the transformational also they gave like a pseudo transformational leadership, so like you kind of could like compare to I guess like what's better and what's worse. So like the pseudo transformational, they're more manipulative and they're more self-involved, more than making about it like a team thing, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, for me, I just really like the fact that it's just more authentic and just a very like it takes like a high moral, someone with really good morals to have a transformational leadership style, and I appreciate that the most. There are a couple others that I agree with too, but that one is where I would like how I would want to be and how I want to be led. So I like that one also.
Cool. Yeah, like I actually got through most of the chapters and I was like, well, I don't know if I really fit in one of these, but I really, as we got to the end of the chapter 4, covers the charismatic, ideological, pragmatic leader and like leadership model. Like for me, that's totally me. Like I found that like chameleon's probably the wrong word, but I really feel like I'm really adaptable to like the people I'm working with, the environment that I'm in. And so I like that there's a model that kind of takes those differences into it. You know, it's kind of like if you're a carpenter, you know, everything looks like a hammer and a nail, right? So like I kind of like the idea of like being able to assess a situation and see who you're working with, what it needs, what it doesn't need, and like kind of adapting styles to kind of meet that. So I definitely fit in that because I kind of feel like I can go through different phases depending on who I'm working with, the people that I'm around, like what the objectives of the goal, you know, of the team are. Like it changes from one to one. Like it's never like a constant set thing. So I really like that there's a model that kind of like takes in some different accounts and like kind of accounts for being able to be adaptable in different situations. So for me, it was definitely I want to call it the chip model, but it's not the chip model, but it should be the chip model. Like we should have an H in there. So it's like chip model. I think it'd be better.
Yeah, I think that one's good too, because it's really hard to find people that can really work well with any other type of person and different personalities.
Totally.
So I agree with that one too.
I mean, and that's not to say that there aren't times where I get like totally bugged with certain people, but
yeah,
for the most part, like I can kind of roll with it. It's like, okay, I mean, you know, minus like an authoritarian leader, then I'm kind of like,
yeah,
why don't you go find someone else to work with? Because I'm not really down with that. But everything else I can kind of roll with, though.
Yeah, the nice part of that too is that like if change happens, no matter like what level of change, if you're adaptable, you can kind of take on and have like an open mind and go with it and still be able to work with it and become a leader in that situation.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you even say that because like we had like a kind of like a fire drill at work this week, and like basically we had to change a bunch of stuff like midstream, and like a couple of the managers that I work with like lost their crap. They're like, we can't do this, we can't change in the middle of our plan and everything. It's like, well, we just kind of have to adapt to what the client needs, and like you don't always get to go from point A to Z, right? So
yeah,
or even A to B for that matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that also with what I was saying about the kind of the self leadership is a lot of the democratic leadership style, kind of where everybody or the leader assumes that the followers are capable of making certain decisions, and in turn, you know, I like what they say here. They have that old motto that 2 heads are better than 1. So, I mean, if you can build that rapport with your followers and, you know, build that trust, you know, it's like having, you know, 6 or 7 leaders essentially instead of 1.
Yeah, and being able to do that, you know, just that part of just really being able to foster a bunch of like other people who, because like most people like me, like I'm not generally the first person to like step up and just talk, but if I have a leader that it makes me really feel comfortable, like doesn't make me feel less than, not as smart, then I'm more willing to portray their same, I guess, characteristics and speak up and
Their confidence, yeah.
yeah, when I have a leader that like just genuinely makes me feel really comfortable and like I can have an opinion without feeling like I'm going to be told I'm an idiot about it or something.
Right. I think, yeah, that's like a lost, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's almost
Character.
like a skill.
It's like a character flaw that a lot of leaders don't have nowadays, that they don't support that.
It's not natural
growth.
for people.
Yeah.
Like I was saying last week, I mean, I feel like a good leader like knows how to get the most out of their workers. Like I said, like everybody takes their own like style of leading. Like you could do like lead somebody one way, and it might make them shut down if you're too tough, or like if you come at like everybody just takes their own style. Like something that might help somebody else might not help like another person. You gotta like as a leader, you need to know your like the people you're being the leader of, and you need to know how to get the most out of them and to be the most successful. You know, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you have to have a balance.
Right.
You need to be a leader and be able to give direction and also be a friend at the same time.
Yep.
Not so much like a friend, but more like understanding of the employee and their feelings, and you need to be able to read their emotions.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that I keep thinking about, like as we, as they went, obviously it was a couple weeks ago that we kind of call it. Well, it's still been like covering followers and being good followers and things like that. It's like it just struck me that you're never going to be like, unless you're like the top of the top of the top, right? I mean, you're always going to be moving like through this constant like leadership follower model, right? So the more that you can adapt, roll, and learn to like, I don't know, not own it so much. Like own it when you need to, and be okay when you don't need to, right? It's
right.
like
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, until we all reach that pinnacle of like, well, we don't answer to anyone in any form. Like, it's going to be an ebb and flow where it changes and adapts, and so, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You'll always be somehow like a follower.
Totally.
But even in that role, you could be a leader of other followers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it all depends on your leader, if they support that, and I think that that's very important to do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're usually the followers are the leaders of tomorrow. So I mean, you kind of want to give them that freedom to to be able to do that.
Write that down, man.
I know, right?
That's your vision statement.
Copyright.
Does anybody know how long we've been going? Evan, when did you post that thing? Because it doesn't tell me how long we've been going. I don't want to go too much over.
We're real close.
Yeah, we're good. We're good now. I posted it at 2:15. So
yep. Cool.
Okay.
At 2:15. All right. So I just want to let's just wait to 2:30 for me to stop hit recording, because I don't want to be under and then lose points, like stupid points.
I think we could be anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes.
Oh, it's 12. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
We're good, man. Cool.
All right, guys.
Cool.
Well, right
All right,
on.
guys.
Next week, same spot.
Yeah, and then as we go along with the assignment, you guys, any questions or anything? That's kind of why I created that whole discussion board there. So if we need to chat about it or
anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, I'll turn that in right now. I'll see you guys next weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah,
Bye.
All right. See ya.
Bye,
Later,
guys.
guys.
Bye-bye.